another exciting day of Peak Flicks Math with Mrs. Dennis. I'm so excited to see you today because today we have a twist on our monster math because we're going to use pizza also as a great way to learn math strategies, because at the time we did so much monster math that Miss Dennis figured, hey, let's add some food in there. So are you ready for an excellent day of teaching and learning? Great, so let's dive into another great day of Peak Flicks Math. So today our topic is about learning fractions, and we're gonna learn fractions with pizza. I love pizza. So this is going to be another exciting day of math. So let's look at our objective for today. Our objective says I can represent and identify fractional parts of different wholes. So today, that's going to be our focus. But before we go into our lesson, we know we always have to practice our fact fluency. Great, because when you are fluent in your math facts, it makes you a better mathematician. So let's look at some of our math facts for today. And Miss Dennis is going to move herself over a bit so we can take a look at our math facts for today. So today we are going to look at our 6 times tables. And guess what? I have a really nice strategy that can help you with your 6 times tables. Today we're going to learn about the sixes rule. So let's take a closer look at the sixes rule. If you multiply by 6 and it's an even number, that's very important. If it's an even number, it will end in the same digit as the number you are multiplying by. So let's look at this example. If you have 6 times 4, the last number will always be the number that you're multiplying by. So because we're multiplying by 4, the answer is going to end in 4. Then the number in the tens place will be half of the number in the ones place. So if we're multiplying by 4, well, what's half of 4? Great. Half of 4 is 2. So 6 times 4 is 24. Isn't that so cool? Let's try the sixes rule with a new problem. Let's try 6 times 2. The sixes rule tells me that the answer is going to have this number that you're multiplying by in the ones place. And then the tens place is going to be half of that number. So I know that 2 is going to be the second number, and half of 2 is 1. So 6 times 2 is 12. You got it. Isn't that so cool? Let's practice more with our sixes rules. But this time, you know Miss Dennis is always going to time you. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to solve the next few problems. Are you ready? Do you think you can do it? Oh, I know you can. So get ready. So let's try another one. Now we have 6 times 4. Think about our sixes rule. I'll give you 15 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, time's up. 6 times 4 is 24. You got it, because we know that the number we're multiplying by is going to be in the ones place, and we know that half of 4 is 2. So 6 times 4 is 24. Let's try another one. I want you to try 6 times 6. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 15 seconds. Okay, time's up. 6 times 6 is 36. You got it, because the sixth rule tells us that this number is going to be the same one that we're multiplying by, and half of 6 is 3. You got it, because 3 plus 3 is 6. Great. Let's try one more. I want you to try 6 times 8. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 15 seconds. You got it. Think about the sixth rule, okay? That's really going to help us when it comes to solving these problems. Okay, time's up. 6 times 8 is 48. You got it. Because this number that we're multiplying by is going to be in the ones place, and half of 8 is 4. So 6 times 8 is 48. Isn't math so much fun? There's all these different tricks that we can learn to help us, and they're so exciting. So let's go back to our objective for today. Remember, our objective is our goal. So today, by the end of our lesson, we are going to be able to represent and identify fractional parts of different wholes. So I know what you are thinking. Well, Ms. Dennis, what is a fraction? Well, a fraction is just a part of a whole. Let's say that together. A fraction is a part of a whole. Excellent. So let's look more closely at fractions. When you think about a fraction shows an equal part, and that's going to be very important in fractions because fractions show equal parts of a whole number. This top number here is something called a numerator. Say it with me. Numerator. One more time. Numerator. Great. And so the numerator is the number of parts that's counted or separated. Okay? The bottom number of a fraction is called the denominator. Can you say that with me? Denominator. One more time. Denominator. Great job. And so the denominator shows the equal pieces of the whole. And so when you use a fraction or when you write a fraction, you will always have a numerator, which is the top number. You got it. And you'll always have the denominator, which is the bottom number. So let's take more of a closer look at fractions. So remember, the denominator is the bottom number, absolutely. And that shows how many pieces we have as a whole. So if we had to look at our pizza, I know you're getting hungry, but let's focus on math. If you had to look at our pizza, let's count how many pieces are there. You ready? And we're going to start with the one that's kind of hanging out. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slices of pizza. So 8 are the different parts of a whole. So that's going to go in the bottom, which is the denominator. Now, let's say we got so hungry that we ate 1 slice of pizza. So that means that the number that's gone is 1 part of a whole. So we ate 1 part or 1 slice of the 8 total pieces of pizza. And so the fraction is 1/8. Got that? Okay, let's try another one. So now let's look at our new pizza. Well, how many pieces do we have to have the total number or the whole pizza? So we have 1, 2 parts or 2 pieces that make up the whole. And so the denominator is going to be 2. And now let's look. Well, how many pieces have toppings? There is only 1 out of 2 parts that have toppings. And so 1/2 or half of the pizza have toppings. So our fraction is 1/2. Let's try with another one. Now, I'm going to ask you this time, how many parts do you see to make up the whole? Okay, let's double check. Let's count together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts that make up the whole. And so the denominator, or that bottom part that makes up the whole, is 4. Now, if we have to look, well, how many parts of that whole do not have any toppings at all? Well, if I had to look, I noticed that there's only one part of the whole that don't have toppings. And so the one is going to be my denominator. And so 1/4, or 1 out of the 4 pieces, do not have any toppings. So my fraction is 1/4. Let's try one more time together, okay? Okay, because I think we're starting to get the hang of this fraction thing. What do you think? Yeah, I think so too. So now let's try this one together. Let's count how many pieces or parts of the whole pizza make up the whole. Are you ready? Okay. There's 1. Are you counting with me? Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts that make up the whole pizza. So my denominator is going to be, you got it. My denominator is going to be 6, because there are 6 parts that make up the whole pizza. Now, if we look, how many parts do not have any toppings at all? Yeah, there's only one, right? There's only one part out of the 6 total pieces that don't have any toppings. So our fraction is going to be 1/6, because there are 1 out of the total. And when you do fractions, if you think about it, this is 1/6, this is 1/6, this is 1/6, this one is 1/6, this is 1/6, and this is 1/6. So each time you're taking 1/6 out of the total number of pizza slices. So now let's look at this and let's try to solve this with a word problem. And remember, the objective is to represent and identify fractional parts of different wholes. So we talked about halves, we talked about fourths, we talked about sixths, and we talked about eighths. So now let's do this with a word problem. So Stacy has a pizza that's cut into 7 equal pieces. Remember, fractions are only, you got it, equal parts. Stacy has a pizza that's cut into 7 equal pieces. 6 pieces have toppings on them. What fraction of the pizza has no toppings on them? So let me think. We have to write the fractional part that has no toppings. Well, how many pieces are in the whole pizza? Well, let's count. We know that Stacy has 7 equal pieces. So let's double check to make sure. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equal pieces. And so 7 is going to be our denominator, because 7 make up the whole pizza. Now we have to see if 6 of the parts have, 6 pieces have toppings on them. But what is the fraction that don't have toppings? Well, if these 6 have toppings, I know that there is 1 part out of 7 total that don't have toppings. So my fraction is 1/7. There's 1/7 of the pizza that do not have any toppings. So remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words, isn't it? We can use pictures to help us solve our fraction problems. And when you do fractions, looking at the picture really helped us, didn't it? Yes, I agree. So now it's your turn. I want you to read the word problem and think about how we're going to solve this problem. So Mr. Ramos sliced an orange into 8 equal pieces. He ate 1 slice. That's very important. He ate 1 slice out of the 8 slices. You are going to use the shapes to create a picture to represent the 8 slices of oranges. So in your whiteboard or your notebook, I want you to draw this circle, and I want you to slice this orange into 8 pieces. So pause the video here so that way you can draw your circle and think about, well, how are you going to slice this orange into 8 pieces? Make sure when you're done, you come back because there's another part to this problem Miss Dennis wants you to do. Okay, so you should have your orange in your whiteboard, check, or in your notebook, check. Okay, great. So now, how did you slice up the orange? Well, let's look. If you had a circle or an orange and we cut it up into 8 slices because that's what Mr. Ramos did, let's count to make sure we have 8. Are you ready? You're going to count yours and Miss Dennis is going to count hers and we're going to make sure we have 8 slices, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Do you have 8? Okay, great. So do I. So now, what fraction of the orange did Mr. Ramos eat? And what fraction didn't he eat? So we know he ate 1 slice. So I want you to write the fraction. I want you to tell me how much of the orange did he eat and how much of the orange he did not eat. So I want you to pause the video here and come back. Remember, I want to know what fraction did Mr. Ramos eat and what fraction he did not eat, okay? And when you come back, I'm going to show you the answer and we'll go over it so you can check your work. Okay, scholars, welcome back. How did you do? Well, let's go over it together. So, before we go over that problem, I want you to try this also in your notebook. I want you to look at these problems here. There are 4 problems. I want you to tell me what fraction is shaded in each shape, okay? And then when you're done, we'll come back and we'll go over all the answers together. You got it? Okay, great. I'll be right here. So make sure you pause the video, write these 4 fractions in your notebook or on your whiteboard, and we'll go over our word problem and we will go over these problems together. Okay, scholars, welcome back. So let's go over our problems together. So remember, Mr. Ramos sliced an orange into 8 equal pieces. He ate 1 slice. We had to represent this in a problem. So we knew we had 1 whole orange and we sliced it into 8 equal pieces. And this circle here represents, well, how many pieces did Mr. Ramos eat? So we know he ate 1 out of 8 of the total slices. So our fraction is 1/8, right? There's 1 he ate out of 8. Well, that means how much did he have left? What didn't he eat? Well, I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slices left. So he did not eat 7 out of the 8 total slices. So the fraction would be 7/8 of the orange Mr. Ramos did not eat. Okay? How do you think you did? Great. And remember, we're going to continue learning more about fractions. And just remember, as long as you know that fractions are a part of a whole, you'll do just fine. So now let's go over those 4 fractions that you wrote in your notebook. So if we notice, there's 1 shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So the fraction is 1/4. For the second one, there's 1 shaded out of 1, 2 parts. So the fraction would be 1/2, or half of the shape is shaded, okay? The same thing here. The circle there is 1 out of 1, 2 parts total, and so the fraction is 1/2. And in the last one, there are 1, 2, 3 total, which means that's the denominator, right? Because those are the parts that make up the whole. And there's 1 shaded out of those 3 parts. And so the fraction would be 1/3. Okay? How did you do? Great. And we're going to learn more about fractions, so that is fine. So we're going to conclude our lesson for today. And I want you to remember to use Zern and go on Reflex Math every single day. Because when you use those programs, it makes you a better mathematician. And didn't you love our new Pizza Monster Math? Oh, I think I'm going to go get me some pizza now because it made me so hungry. So I will see you tomorrow, scholars, and thank you for another excellent day of teaching and learning. So let's dance our way to the end of our lesson. And as always, Miss Dennis will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, my beautiful, amazing, smart scholars. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.